All right, so you're ready to interview for a drainage engineer position.
That's great. It's a job that really makes a difference, protecting communities and the environment.
Yeah, exactly. And we're here to equip you for that interview.
We're going to dive deep into common questions.
Give you some smart strategies for your answers.
And we've even got some insider tips from a career guide.
Oh, and we can't forget about RoleCatcher's AI.
Yeah, that can give you a real edge.
For sure. So interviewers are looking for more than just technical skills,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. They want to see passion.
Genuine excitement for this field.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's start with a classic. How did you become interested in drainage engineering?
It's a simple question.
But it can really set the tone for the whole interview.
Yeah, and this is your chance to showcase what sparked your interest.
Don't just give a generic answer, right?
Right. Think back to a specific experience that really ignited your passion.
So instead of saying, I've always loved problem solving,
Right.
you could talk about a project that captivated you.
Maybe a sustainable drainage system you saw in action.
Exactly.
Precisely. Like maybe you were fascinated by how a bioswale naturally filters stormwater.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe a book on flood management opened your eyes to the challenges and innovative solutions.
Sharing a specific story
It makes you memorable.
and shows that your interest is genuine.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to what experience do you have with stormwater management?
This is where you get specific.
Showcase those technical skills.
Don't just list projects.
Great.
Highlight the ones where you played a key role, outlining your responsibilities and the challenges you tackled.
So, for example, instead of saying, I worked on the Parkview development project,
Right.
you could say, on the Parkview project, I was responsible for designing the stormwater retention pond. I use HECRA software to model different rainfall scenarios, ensuring the system could handle a 100-year storm event.
That's good.
Giving those details
Paints a vivid picture.
and demonstrates your technical proficiency.
And don't be afraid to highlight specific software or technologies that you've used.
Oh, yeah. Did you use any advanced modeling tools or innovative design approaches?
Mentioning those details.
Showcases your expertise.
Keeps you top of mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about passion experience. Now let's shift gears to how do you stay up to date with the latest developments in drainage engineering?
That's important.
This is where you demonstrate your commitment to lifelong learning.
Interviewers want to see that you're proactive and passionate about staying current in a field that's constantly evolving.
Yeah, so instead of simply saying, I read industry journals, go a step further. Are you a member of any professional organizations like the American Society of Civil Engineers?
Yeah.
Do you attend conferences or webinars on topics like green infrastructure?
Sharing those examples shows you're actively seeking new knowledge.
Exactly. And if you can sprinkle in some specific trends that you're following, like the rise of sustainable drainage systems
Yeah.
or the integration of sensors and automation.
It demonstrates that you're not just keeping up, but actively engaged in the future of the field. Speaking of the future, our career guide highlights how drainage engineering is evolving.
Oh, that's interesting.
It mentions the growing demand for engineers with expertise in climate change adaptation and sustainable urban drainage systems.
It's definitely something to keep in mind as you consider your career path.
For sure.
Yeah.
Understanding those trends can help you tailor your answers to showcase your alignment with the industry's future direction.
Yeah.
Now let's tackle, can you describe time when you had to troubleshoot a drainage issue on a project?
Okay.
This is story time.
Yes.
Think back to a project where you faced a particularly tricky drainage problem.
Right.
Walk the interviewer through the issue, the steps you took to diagnose it, and ultimately the solution you implemented.
And remember, the key here is to highlight your analytical thinking process.
Did you have to think outside the box?
Did you face any unexpected challenges?
Were there any creative solutions you came up with?
Sharing those details helps the interviewer understand how you approach and solve problems.
For example, you could describe a time when a drainage system kept clogging.
Okay.
After investigating, you discovered the problem wasn't the pipes themselves, but landscaping material washing into the system.
I see.
You then implemented a solution to prevent that material from entering the drainage system,
Right.
solving the clogging issue. It's a great example of going beyond the obvious to find the root cause and implement a practical solution.
Exactly. And remember, the interviewer might have follow-up questions.
Oh, yeah?
They might ask, what were the biggest challenges you faced in solving this problem? Or what did you learn from this experience?
Be prepared to elaborate.
And demonstrate your problem-solving prowess.
Okay, so we've covered passion, experience, staying current, and problem solving.
Right.
Now let's move on to a question that's all about ensuring your designs meet all the necessary requirements.
Okay.
How do you ensure that drainage systems are designed to meet local regulations and requirements?
It's an important one.
This question is all about demonstrating your attention to detail and your understanding of the legal frameworks governing drainage design.
It's not enough to simply say you follow the rules.
So what kind of approach should you take here?
Instead of just stating that you follow the rules, describe your process for staying informed about regulations.
Okay.
Do you regularly consult local building codes and environmental regulations?
Huh?
Do you attend workshops on updates to these regulations?
Sharing those specific actions shows that you're proactive and meticulous in ensuring compliance.
And you can also mention any resources or software you use to stay updated, like online databases of local regulations or design software that incorporates regulatory checks.
Right. It demonstrates that you have a system in place to ensure your designs meet all the necessary requirements.
Exactly. And remember, interviewers often ask follow-up questions to assess your depth of knowledge.
They might ask about specific regulatory challenges you've faced.
Or how you stay informed about changes in regulations.
Being prepared for those follow-up questions shows that you're truly committed to compliance.
Yeah.
Now, before we jump into the next question, I want to touch on something from our career guide that I found really interesting. It highlights the importance of communication skills for drainage engineers.
Oh, that's important.
Apparently, you need to be able to effectively communicate complex technical information to clients, colleagues, and even the general public.
Yeah.
It's not just about the numbers and calculations.
Right.
It's also about conveying information clearly and persuasively.
That's an excellent point. Drainage engineering often involves working with diverse stakeholders, so those communication skills are essential.
For sure. And that actually segues perfectly into our next question, which is all about teamwork.
Okay.
How do you approach working with a team on a drainage project?
All right, teamwork.
This is where you showcase your collaborative spirit.
Drainage engineering projects often involve multiple stakeholders.
Engineers, architects, contractors, clients.
So being able to work effectively as part of a team is crucial.
And interviewers aren't just looking for someone who can work in a team.
Right.
They're looking for someone who can lead and inspire a team.
Yeah.
They want to see that you can communicate effectively, delegate tasks, resolve conflicts,
Right.
and motivate others towards a common goal.
Yeah.
So instead of simply saying, I'm a team player, give specific examples of how you've collaborated effectively in the past.
Okay.
Maybe you played a key role in facilitating communication between different disciplines on a project,
Right.
or successfully resolved a conflict that arose between team members
Sharing these examples brings your teamwork skills to life.
and demonstrates your leadership potential.
And again, be prepared for those follow-up questions.
The interviewer might ask, what's your approach to conflict resolution?
Mm-hmm.
Or how do you motivate team members who might have different working styles?
Good questions.
Okay, so we've covered teamwork and collaboration. Now let's get into a slightly more challenging question.
Okay.
Can you describe a time when you had to work with a difficult client on a drainage project? This question is all about demonstrating your diplomacy and problem-solving skills in a different light.
Interviewers want to see how you handle challenging interpersonal situations.
Particularly with clients.
Yeah.
So how do we approach this one?
Think back to a project where you faced a demanding or unreasonable client.
Okay.
Maybe they were indecisive, had unrealistic expectations, or were constantly changing their requirements.
I think we've all encountered those.
Indeed. The key here is to focus on the positive aspects of how you handled the situation.
Okay.
Instead of complaining about the client, emphasize the steps you took to understand their concerns, communicate effectively, and find solutions that address their needs while still adhering to good engineering practices and regulatory requirements.
So it's about showcasing your ability to remain calm and professional under pressure.
Right.
While advocating for the best engineering solution.
Exactly.
For instance, you could say, on a recent project, the client was concerned about the visual impact of the proposed drainage swale. I took the time to explain the importance of the swale for stormwater management and presented alternative design options that would minimize the visual impact while still meeting the functional requirements. We worked collaboratively to find a solution that met both their aesthetic concerns and the project's technical needs.
That's a great example. It highlights your ability to listen and communicate effectively and find creative solutions that satisfy both the client and the project goals.
And don't forget those follow-up questions.
Right.
The interviewer might ask, what was the biggest challenge in working with this client? Or how did you maintain a positive working relationship despite the difficulties?
Being prepared to answer those questions in a thoughtful and constructive way further demonstrates your interpersonal skills.
Now, before we move on to the next question, I want to quickly touch on how RoleCatcher's AI can help you tailor your answers and provide feedback for specific job roles.
That's a cool feature.
This is where it gets really interesting. RoleCatcher can actually analyze job descriptions and identify the specific skills and experience that the employer is looking for. It's like having a personal career coach in your pocket.
Exactly. By inputting the job description into RoleCatcher, you can get insights into the specific areas the employer is emphasizing, which can help you tailor your answers to highlight those skills and experiences. It's a powerful tool for making sure your responses are relevant and impactful.
That's a game changer for interview preparation. Okay, let's get back to those interview questions. The next one focuses on a crucial skill for any engineer organization.
Well,
How would you approach the question? How do you prioritize competing demands and deadlines on a drainage project?
yes, prioritization.
This question is all about your organizational skills, time management.
An ability to stay calm under pressure.
Drainage engineers often handle multiple projects simultaneously.
So demonstrating your ability to prioritize effectively is crucial.
So what are some key points to hit when answering this question?
First, emphasize your system for staying organized.
Yeah.
Do you use project management software?
Hmm?
Do you create detailed schedules and to-do lists?
Okay.
Do you have a method for prioritizing tasks based on urgency and importance?
Whatever your method.
Explain it clearly and concisely.
Okay, good point. We don't want to overwhelm the interviewer with too much detail.
Right. And don't forget to mention how you communicate with your team and stakeholders.
Okay.
Do you hold regular meetings to discuss progress and address any potential bottlenecks?
Right.
Do you proactively inform clients about any potential delays or changes to the schedule?
Demonstrating clear and open communication is key.
Especially when you're juggling multiple priorities.
It shows that you're on top of
And
things.
that you're proactive in keeping everyone informed.
For example, you could say, I utilize a project management system to track all my tasks and deadlines. I also hold weekly meetings with my team to discuss progress and any roadblocks, and I provide regular updates to clients to keep them informed.
That's a good one.
That kind of systemized approach shows you can handle the pressure of multiple projects and deadlines, which is essential in this field.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to mention any specific techniques you use to manage your time effectively.
Like what?
Like the Pomodoro technique or time blocking.
Okay.
It shows that you're actively seeking ways to improve your productivity and efficiency.
Okay, let's move on to our next question, which is all about thinking outside the box. Can you describe a time when you had to innovate or think creatively to solve a drainage problem on a project?
I love this question.
This one sounds fun.
It gives you a chance to showcase your problem-solving skills.
And your ability to come up with innovative solutions.
Drainage engineering often involves unique site conditions, budget constraints,
Unexpected challenges.
that require creative thinking.
So how do we approach this one?
Think back to a project where you faced a particularly challenging drainage problem. Maybe it was a site with limited space for traditional drainage infrastructure,
Oh, yeah.
or perhaps you had to work within a very tight budget. Describe the challenge, the thought process you went through to find a solution, and the innovative approach you ultimately implemented. Did you research new technologies or materials?
Brainstorm with your team.
Did you draw inspiration from other fields of engineering or even from nature?
I love that nature can be such a great source of inspiration for engineers.
Absolutely. Sharing how you drew inspiration from unexpected sources highlights your creativity and your ability to think beyond conventional solutions.
The interviewer wants to see your ability to adapt
Think creatively.
and find solutions that meet the specific needs of each project.
Yeah.
You could describe a time when you had to design a drainage system for a site with challenging soil conditions that wouldn't support traditional underground pipes.
I see.
Maybe you researched and implemented a sustainable drainage system that utilized bioretention areas and permeable paving to manage stormwater runoff effectively.
That's a good one.
That kind of innovative approach highlights your ability to adapt and find creative solutions, which is highly valued in the field.
Now, before we jump into the career progression aspect of your preparation,
Okay.
let's quickly revisit how RoleCatcher's AI can be a valuable tool in your interview toolkit.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Remember how we talked about RoleCatcher being able to analyze job descriptions? Well, it goes beyond just identifying key skills.
Okay.
It can actually score your CV or resume
Right.
against those skills,
Oh, wow.
highlighting any gaps in your application.
It's like having a second set of eyes, reviewing your application, making sure you're showcasing the skills and experiences that matter most to the employer.
That's incredibly helpful, especially if you're applying for a lot of different positions.
Yeah.
It helps you tailor your application to each specific role, increasing your chances of getting noticed.
That's a game changer.
Okay, now let's shift gears and talk about career paths in drainage engineering. Understanding the typical career progression from entry-level to senior drainage engineer can be really beneficial during your interview preparation. It not only helps you understand where you fit in, but also allows you to tailor your answers to show ambition and a desire for growth.
Yeah, so let's explore the typical responsibilities and skills required at each stage.
Using the insights from our career guide.
It's like getting a sneak peek into your potential career trajectory.
And remember, knowing the growth path helps you position yourself effectively during the interview.
Right.
You could demonstrate that you're not just looking for a job, but a career.
Right. You're invested in the field and eager to grow within it.
That kind of forward-thinking attitude can make a lasting impression.
Absolutely. Welcome back to our deep dive into acing your drainage engineer interview. Before the break, we were discussing career paths. So let's imagine this. You're in the interview and you get asked about your long-term career aspirations. How would you respond?
That's a great point. Even if it isn't directly from our lister, interviewers love to ask about your ambitions.
It ties in perfectly with the career stages we just discussed.
Okay.
It's your chance to show you've thought about your future and how this role fits into your long-term goals.
Okay.
You could mention aiming for a senior engineer position,
Okay.
maybe specializing in a niche area,
It's like a...
sustainable urban drainage systems or flood risk management.
Yeah, the career guide has excellent examples of these specializations.
Right.
So it's not just about finding any job.
No.
It's about finding a fulfilling career path within drainage engineering,
Right.
aligning with your passions and ambitions.
Exactly.
You're in it for the long haul.
And interviewers love to see that dedication.
For sure. And even if you're interviewing for an entry-level position,
Yeah.
expressing that ambition and a desire to learn and grow,
It's always a good thing.
it shows initiative
And commitment.
to professional development.
Now let's get back to our list of potential interview questions.
Okay.
This next one's a bit tricky. It's all about diplomacy and grace under pressure. Can you describe a time when you had to work with a difficult client on a drainage project?
Ooh, this is a tough one. We've all had difficult clients at some point. Right? But how do you talk about it without sounding negative?
Exactly. It's not about complaining.
Right.
It's about showcasing those interpersonal skills
Right.
and how you navigate challenging situations.
So interviewers are looking for candidates who can remain calm, professional,
Solution-oriented.
even when dealing with those personalities.
Yeah.
So what's a good example to use?
Think back to a project where you had a demanding client. Maybe they were indecisive or had unrealistic expectations, or maybe they kept changing their requirements.
Okay.
Focus on how you handled that situation.
Okay.
Describe the steps you took to understand their concerns, communicate effectively, and find solutions that met their needs while still staying true to good engineering practices.
And regulations. Okay, so for instance, you could say, on a recent project, the client was really worried about the visual impact of a proposed drainage swale. I took the time to explain how important the swale was for stormwater management and then presented some different design options that minimized the visual impact while still meeting those functional requirements. We all worked together to find a solution that both addressed their concerns and met the project's technical needs.
That's a great example. It shows you can listen, communicate well, and find those creative solutions that benefit everyone.
And I'm guessing interviewers will have follow-up questions.
Probably. They might ask about the biggest challenge you faced with that client, or how you maintained that positive working relationship despite those difficulties.
So be prepared to provide some thoughtful and constructive answers.
That showcase your interpersonal skills.
Okay.
Let's move on to a question that often trips people up. How do you prioritize competing demands and deadlines on a drainage project?
Oh, the juggling act. It feels like every project has a million moving parts and tight deadlines. How do we even reassure an interviewer that we can handle that?
This question's all about your organizational skills, time management strategies, and staying calm under pressure.
Right.
Remember, drainage engineers often handle multiple projects at once.
Yeah.
So showcasing your ability to prioritize is crucial.
So where do we even begin?
Start by emphasizing how you stay organized. Do you use project management software? detailed schedules, to-do lists.
Cool.
Do you have a way to prioritize tasks based on urgency and importance?
Okay.
Explain your approach clearly and concisely.
I think breaking those big projects into smaller tasks is super helpful. Makes the whole process less overwhelming.
Absolutely. And don't forget to mention communication.
With the team.
Yes, with your team and stakeholders.
Okay.
Do you have regular check-in meetings to discuss progress and address any potential roadblocks?
Okay.
Do you let clients know about potential delays or changes?
Right. Open and transparent communication
Is
keeps everyone on the same page.
ensures projects stay on track.
For example, you could say, I use a project management system to keep track of all my tasks and deadlines. I also hold weekly meetings with my team to discuss progress and any roadblocks, and I give regular updates to clients to keep them informed.
That's great. It shows you can handle the pressure of multiple projects and deadlines.
Which is so important.
Yes, very important in this field.
Okay.
And don't hesitate to mention any specific time management techniques you use,
Okay. Like what?
like the Pomodoro technique or time blocking.
Shows you're being proactive.
Exactly, to maximize productivity.
Okay. Let's move on to a question that taps into your creative side.
Okay.
Can you describe a time when you had to innovate or think creatively to solve a drainage problem on a project?
I love this one.
It does sound fun.
It gives you a chance to showcase your problem-solving skills.
Right. And thinking outside the box.
Drainage engineering often involves unique site constraints, budget limitations, or unexpected challenges.
So it requires creative solutions.
Exactly.
How do we approach this?
Think about a project where you faced a really challenging drainage problem. Maybe there was limited space for traditional drainage infrastructure,
Okay.
or maybe you were on a tight budget.
Happens all the time.
Describe that challenge and walk the interviewer through your thought process.
Okay.
Highlight the innovative solution you came up with. Did you research new technologies or materials?
Did we brainstorm with the team?
Did you draw inspiration from other fields of engineering or nature?
I love that nature can be such a great inspiration for engineers.
Me too. Sharing how you found inspiration from unexpected places really highlights your creativity and your ability to think beyond those conventional solutions.
So the interviewer wants to see that you can adapt, that you're resourceful
And that you can find solutions.
to meet the specific needs of each project.
Exactly.
For example, you could describe a time when you had to design a drainage system for a site with challenging soil conditions
All right.
that couldn't support those traditional underground pipes. Maybe you researched and implemented a sustainable drainage system that utilized bioretention areas and permeable paving.
To effectively manage stormwater runoff,
That innovative approach would showcase your ability to adapt and find those creative solutions.
which is so important in this field.
Highly valued.
Now, before we move on to the next question,
Yeah.
I want to circle back to RoleCatcher and how its AI can be an invaluable resource, especially for those who are early on in their careers.
I'm all ears. RoleCatcher has already impressed me with its ability to analyze job descriptions and identify key skills. But is there more?
Absolutely. Imagine you're a recent grad or someone trying to transition into drainage engineering.
Okay.
You might be unsure what skills to emphasize in your application or how to tailor your resume to specific job roles.
That's a common problem.
RoleCatcher can help.
That sounds helpful. It's like having a personalized career guide.
Exactly. RoleCatcher goes beyond just identifying skills.
Oh,
We
yeah.
can actually score your resume against those skills, highlighting any gaps in your application. It's like having another set of eyes reviewing your resume.
Right. Making sure you're showcasing the qualifications that really matter.
To those potential employers.
That's a game changer, especially for those who are new to the field and might not be as familiar with the specific skills employers are looking for.
Right.
Okay, let's get back to those important interview questions. This next one focuses on something that's crucial for career advancement:
Okay. What's that?
professional development. How would you approach the question? What steps are you taking to enhance your professional development in drainage engineering?
It's a good one. This question's all about demonstrating your commitment to lifelong learning
And your desire to stay ahead of the curve.
in a constantly evolving field.
You can't just say you're open to learning new things, right?
Right. You need to show you're actively seeking opportunities to expand your knowledge and skills.
Okay, so what kind of activities should we highlight here?
You could mention your involvement in professional organizations like the American Society of Civil Engineers or local engineering societies. Participating in conferences, workshops, and webinars shows you're actively trying to stay up to date on the latest trends and technologies.
Okay, and what about certifications?
Yes. Our career guide highlights several certifications that can be valuable for drainage engineers,
Okay.
like the Certified Floodplain Manager
CM?
or the Certified Professional in Erosion and Sediment Control.
CPACE.
Demonstrates your commitment to specialization and expertise.
Okay, so these certifications can boost your credibility and make you a more competitive candidate.
Exactly. It's like earning badges of honor that showcase your specialized knowledge and skills.
And don't forget about self-directed learning.
Very important. Reading industry journals, keeping up with research, and even taking online courses or tutorials
Shows initiative.
demonstrates your dedication to expanding your knowledge.
For example, you could say, I'm currently working towards my CFM certification to really understand those floodplain management principles. I also go to webinars on topics like green infrastructure and sustainable drainage systems just to stay informed about the latest trends.
Perfect. It shows your proactive approach to professional development and your commitment to staying at the forefront of drainage engineering.
Okay, before we move on, I wanted to touch on something else from the career guide.
Okay.
It talks about the importance of networking and building relationships with other professionals.
You bring up a good point. Networking is often overlooked, but it can be so valuable for career growth.
So what are some good ways to network in this field?
Attending industry events, conferences, and seminars is a great way to meet people, learn about new trends, and maybe even find job opportunities. Joining professional organizations provides additional opportunities for networking and professional development, like ASCE.
Okay, what about connecting with people online?
Definitely, LinkedIn is a fantastic resource for connecting with other professionals and staying updated on industry news.
And building a strong online presence.
Helps you stand out to those potential employers.
Right. Showcases your expertise.
Exactly.
Okay, let's get back to our interview questions.
All right.
This next one focuses on a topic that can be a little tricky.
Okay. What's that?
Salary expectations. How would you approach the question? What are your salary expectations for this role?
The salary question.
Yeah, it can be a tough one.
It's one that many candidates dread,
Yeah.
but it's important for both you and the employer.
So how do we find that balance between knowing our worth and not pricing ourselves out of the running?
Before the interview, do your research.
Okay.
Look at industry salary surveys, websites like Glassdoor, or
Indeed.
talk to people in your network.
Okay, to get a sense of the salary range.
Yeah, for similar positions in your area and with your experience level.
That's great advice.
Okay.
We should go into the interview with that knowledge so we can negotiate.
From a position of strength.
Exactly. And when you answer the question, be confident but flexible.
Right. You could say something like, based on my research and experience, I'm looking for a salary range of X to Y. However, I'm also open to discussing the specific compensation package and benefits offered for this role.
That shows you've done your research and you're confident in your worth, but you're open to negotiation.
And don't forget, salary is only one part of the compensation package.
Right.
You should also consider benefits, vacation time, and opportunities for professional development.
Yeah. Sometimes those perks could be just as valuable as a higher salary.
Exactly. Now, before we move on,
Yeah.
I want to mention how RoleCatcher's AI can help with salary negotiations.
Really? That's awesome. How does that work?
RoleCatcher can analyze salary data for similar positions in your area, give you insight into the competitive salary range.
Okay, for the roles you're looking at.
Right. This info can be super helpful when you're preparing for those salary discussions and negotiating your compensation package.
It's like having a personal salary negotiator in your pocket. Okay, let's get back to our interview questions. This next one focuses on your ability to adapt and learn from your mistakes.
Okay.
How would you approach this? Can you describe a situation where your initial solution to a drainage problem didn't work and how you adapted?
This question's designed to assess your resilience, your willingness to learn from your mistakes, and your ability to adapt to those unexpected challenges.
Right, because no engineer is perfect.
Exactly. And projects often have obstacles.
That require us to make some adjustments.
So it's not about pretending you never make mistakes.
Right.
It's about showing that you can learn from them and adapt.
So choose a situation where your initial design didn't work.
Right.
Explain the problem, why the solution didn't work, and the steps you took to analyze the situation and adjust your approach.
To ultimately find that successful solution.
Right. For example, you could describe a time when a drainage system you designed had some unexpected flooding during a heavy rain.
Okay.
You could explain how you investigated the issue, identified a bottleneck in the system's capacity, and redesigned a section of the system.
To prevent future flooding.
Exactly. It really highlights your problem-solving process and your willingness to learn and adapt.
And interviewers might have follow-up questions to dig deeper into your thought process.
They might ask, what did you learn from this experience? Or how did this situation change your approach to similar problems in the future?
Be prepared to give thoughtful answers.
Showcasing your growth and development as an engineer.
Now let's switch gears and talk about a question that often comes up towards the end of the interview.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for us?
I know it's tempting to just say no and be relieved that the interview's almost over, but I've always heard this is a really important opportunity.
You're absolutely right. It's your chance to get more information about the company, the team, the specific projects you might be working on, and the opportunities for growth.
So what are some good questions to ask?
You could ask about the company's culture, the team's approach to collaboration and mentorship, the types of projects they're currently working on, or the opportunities for professional development and advancement within the organization.
Asking about the company's commitment to sustainability or their approach to community engagement would also be good.
Yes. It shows you're interested in the bigger picture and the impact of the company's work.
Excellent point. And it's not just about asking questions.
It's about actively listening to the answers.
Right.
Engaging in a genuine conversation.
Showing genuine interest.
Can leave a lasting impression on those interviewers.
Don't be afraid to ask follow-up questions to clarify anything or dig deeper into topics that interest you.
Well, that wraps up part 2 of our deep dive into acing your drainage engineer interview. We've covered a lot today, from tackling those tricky interview questions to exploring career paths and leveraging the power of RoleCatcher's AI. Be sure to join us for the final part of our deep dive, where we'll explore even more interview tips and strategies to help you land your dream job in drainage engineering.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into acing that drainage engineer interview. In the previous parts, we covered a lot of ground, from common interview questions to strategies for really showcasing your skills and experience. Now, let's wrap things up with some curveball questions that might come your way, and then some final tips to really help you shine.
Yeah, sometimes interviewers like to throw in a question that goes beyond your personal experience. It's to kind of gauge your broader understanding of the field. Like, they might ask, what are some of the biggest challenges facing the drainage engineering field today?
So it's not just about the technical stuff.
Right. It's about showing you're engaged with the bigger picture of drainage engineering.
And how it impacts the world.
Exactly. This question's your chance to showcase your awareness of industry trends and challenges and opportunities in the field.
Okay, so what are some key areas our listeners could talk about?
Well, you could discuss the growing need for sustainable drainage solutions.
With climate change.
Right, or the challenges of aging infrastructure that many cities face. Or even the growing importance of incorporating those smart technologies into drainage systems.
To improve efficiency and resilience.
Yes, exactly.
Those are all super relevant topics.
And it shows you're forward thinking and that you understand the evolving landscape of drainage engineering.
And you can connect these broader challenges to your own interests and career goals.
Oh, for sure. Like, if you're passionate about green infrastructure, you could talk about the challenges of balancing environmental concerns with cost effectiveness and community needs when designing sustainable drainage systems.
That's a great way to show your knowledge while showcasing your passions within the field. Okay, let's move to a question that assesses your problem-solving approach. Can you describe a situation where your initial solution to a drainage problem didn't work and how you adapted?
This question really digs into your resilience and your ability to learn from experiences.
Interviewers want to see that you can acknowledge when something hasn't worked out.
Analyze the situation.
And find new solutions.
Exactly. Choose a situation where your initial design didn't work.
Explain the problem.
The reasons why it fell short.
And the steps you took to analyze and revise your approach to ultimately find that successful solution.
For example, you could talk about a time when a drainage system you designed had some flooding during a heavy rain.
Right. Then you could explain how you investigated the issue, found a bottleneck in the system's capacity, and redesigned a section to increase flow and prevent future flooding.
Perfect. It shows your problem-solving process and your willingness to learn and adapt.
And I bet they'll have some follow-up questions.
Oh, probably. They might ask what the most challenging part of adapting your solution was, or how the experience changed your approach to similar problems in the future.
Be prepared to give some thoughtful answers that show your growth and adaptability. Okay, as we wrap up this deep dive, let's talk about one last question that's crucial for making a good impression.
Okay, sounds good.
At the end of the interview, you'll probably be asked, do you have any questions for us?
I know it might be tempting to just say no and be relieved it's over.
But asking thoughtful questions is really important.
It's true. This is your chance to show that you're genuinely interested in the role, the company, and the team. It's also your chance to get more information to help you decide if it's the right fit for you.
So what are some good questions we can ask?
Well, you could ask about the company culture, their approach to collaboration and mentorship.
The types of projects they're working on,
Fine.
or the opportunities for professional development,
Exactly.
and asking about their commitment to sustainability or community engagement would also be good.
Excellent point. It shows you're interested in the bigger picture and the impact of the company's work.
It's not just about asking questions.
It's about actively listening to the answers,
Right.
engaging in a real conversation.
Showing genuine interest and curiosity can make a really good impression on the interviewers.
It really can.
Don't be afraid to ask follow-up questions to clarify anything or dig deeper into topics that interest you. Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into acing your drainage engineer interview. We've covered so much.
Common interview questions,
Strategic approaches,
career insights, and even how RoleCatcher's AI can help you tailor your answers and get feedback for specific job roles.
Remember, drainage engineering is crucial for protecting our communities and the environment. Your work has a real impact, and interviewers want to see that passion and commitment.
Go into that interview with confidence, showcase your skills and experience, and let your enthusiasm for drainage engineering shine through.
We have no doubt you'll impress them and land that dream job.
Good luck.